Can turn off my phone.
Man, it is giving me trouble today going live. Come on. What is your problem? All right, I think we are live on Facebook, so welcome to anyone there. And we're gonna add all of our visitors for the webinar and show you the PowerPoint. Oops. Maybe I should share my screen first, don't you think? Okay. All right, thank you so much to everyone who is here. We are on week 5, can you believe it? Week 5 of the Small Business Summit. And every week we've had such fantastic content from all the experts that are willing to come and share their knowledge. And this week is, of course, no different. Today, we really came together and brought this business summit because we recognize as business owners ourselves that we have everything on our shoulders, right? We've got all our marketing, all our client connections, all our sales, all our customer service, right? That's all on our shoulders. We got to make sure the business is functioning. So we decided we're going to bring experts to your door to really show you how you can take your business to the next level and what kind of things you might be missing that you would consider. So these are some of the experts that we've put together, and you can find any of the previous videos on my YouTube channel. So if you search my name, Abby Vick, you can find all the previous content. But these are all the experts that we're going to bring to you over 3 more weeks after this as well. Financial planner, business consultant, banker, business insurance, marketing, health insurance, financial coach. So there's lots of different people that can really come and enhance what you're already doing in your business and maybe taking it to the next level, making sure you have the right legal protection, insurance protection, all those things to take care of you and your family. So I'm your host today. This is me, Abby Vick. I'm the founder and the CEO of Paradigm Money Management. We're a registered investment advisor in Phoenix. And I mostly work with women small business owners who are either Gen X or millennials. So if you're starting your business, if you're in like year 1 to 5 of your business, I definitely want to talk to you. You're in the right place. This is the content that we've custom for you. And we provide a variety of services at Paradigm, including making sure that you have the right experts on your team. So today, we're going to be talking about health insurance for business owners at any age. So no matter what age you are, this content is totally for you. We can help you find a health insurance that'll fit you and your family's needs. And we all know how convoluted and hard to wade through all the different insurance terms, especially when it comes to health insurance. But we all know how important it is, right? Because we use it for our families, we use it for ourselves. We want to make sure that we have that option whenever we need it. But it's really hard to know what all those details are and how to get the right coverage. So I want to introduce you, of course, to our amazing speakers who do this work day in and day out, serve their clients to make sure that they are really taken care of with their health insurance needs and that they can do it affordably, right? I mean, that's really the whole name of the game. So first, we're going to have Mario Garay speak to us today. He is with the Mario Garay Insurance Services Company. And he's going to talk to you about what his offering is. So if you're anyone, I mean, this is really for everyone. If you're over the age of 18, all the way to 64 and a half, this is your guy, right? He can talk to you about what a group plan would be like, what an individual plan would be like. And there's not a lot of insurance professionals I've met who provide better customer service than Mario. And then Tana's going to talk to us a little bit later about Medicare. So if you're over 65, or as I found out just yesterday, if you have employees who are over 65, you want to know about Medicare. You want to know about the options. And we're going to get into all those details. I'm not going to give away all the surprises, but I'm so blessed to have both of these professionals. These are their email addresses. If you have any questions you want to contact and get any information sheets, they are there for you. So I'm going to stop sharing for just a moment so we can get into our conversation more. And Mario, like I said, we're going to start with you. And let's see, I think Tana, we're going to move you to an attendee just so Mario and I can talk for now. Okay, so Mario, let's start. Thank you so much for being here, by the way. So I think, the big question here is, why didn't the Affordable Care Act make it easier for small businesses to get health insurance? I thought that was the whole point of going through that, right? Was to make it easier to get health insurance, but it still seems like it's really complicated industry.
Hi. So good afternoon, everybody, and thanks, Abby, for having us here. Tana, good afternoon. So yeah, I mean, it's not that it's a difficult process, Abby, in getting health insurance through the Affordable Care Act. But yeah, you're right. There are a few things that you have to meet. There's, for example, first one, there is an open enrollment period if you want to be part of the ACA, right? Or some of us know it as Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, Marketplace, several names out there. It's all the same thing. The open enrollment, if you want to be part of the ACA, it takes place between November 1st and December 15th. So if you're a business owner and you want to get health insurance after January 1st, before November 1st, then you are sort of in a bind, right? You won't be able to get health insurance because, again, they have the regulations. Now, what happens when you bring a private company, such as the one I represent, you're able to jump on a health insurance plan at any time during the year, which benefits small business owners because obviously, if you're going to own a business, if you have a family with you or you're planning to have a family, you want your assets protected, right? You want to make sure that if you end up hospitalized, if you end up in a critical situation in an accident, that you're not going to be thousands of dollars out of pocket. So that's one of the challenges that you would run into on the Affordable Care Act if you try to jump in there before November 1st or before their open enrollment. Mm-hmm. Now, another challenge would be is they're basing the health insurance premium on your annual income, right? As business owners, some of us do pretty good throughout the year, and some of us that are starting, even then, have a pretty good annual income. So a lot of times, jumping on one of the ACA plans, your premiums come in maybe 2 or 3 times what a private plan would offer you. One of the reasons is because the private plans would be underwriting you. And so they're going to base your premium on your health, right? And again, and it's not that we're pushing anybody out with a pre-existing condition. We also have options for people with a pre-existing condition. But we're just saying we do reward those who have a good health, who take care of themselves, right? A lot of times we find ourselves that even staying in shape or in good health isn't the cheapest thing. I mean, you want to buy yourself a hamburger with fries, you'll probably pay $4 or $5 less versus buying yourself a healthy salad, right? Mm-hmm. So we're already paying enough money to stay healthy. So why not save some of that money on the health insurance policies that we're signing up for? So again, that's where the private companies come in, and we can help the small business owners, 1099s, solopreneurs on saving on their monthly premium. And on top of that, also on the deductibles. Majority of the plans that you'll see on the ACA, there is a high deductible that you would have to meet in order for their benefits to fully kick in. Again, on the private plans, there's different options where you don't have to meet a certain deductible for daily usage, right? Doctor visit, medication, chiropractic visit, urgent care, etc. But that's one of the things that, that's differences between ACA plans and private plans that are out there available to the small business owners.
Yeah, that's a lot of difference. And I'm not going to lie to the audience here and say, I really didn't know when I first started my business that there were private options. I thought with it was happening in the media that my only option was to be on the ACA. And so that's where I started looking. And then you start getting all these phone calls from people to talk about how you should be on one of their plans. So, the first conversation is there are private options that are available, and that might meet your needs better and might be more affordable. So how do I, as an individual or someone with a family, how do I, find and understand the different health insurance options to choose from?
So one of the good things, and we've both of us have helped out people before. You've referred to me some of your people, and I take the advisor approach. I'm not a broker. I don't consider myself an agent. I do consider myself an advisor, and the reason for that is I'm going to give you options for you to choose from. I'm going to tell you what the benefits are, what the cons will be, and then you ultimately are going to have the choice and say, okay, you know what, Mario, I think this is what fits my needs, right? There's plans that will cover certain things that other plans won't. So again, as I talk to you and I identify what the gaps are in your health coverage, then that's what we're going to do, right? That's how I would help you find a health insurance plan. What best fits your needs? What do you need to protect yourself? Again, what do you need to protect your loved ones? If you're wanting to offer health insurance plans to, let's say you have 2 or 3 individuals working for you. A lot of people think that just because you have 2 or 3 individuals working for you, you immediately have to go get on a group plan. Well, that's not necessarily true, right? You also have the option of signing them up or giving them the option of getting on an individual plan, which also has benefits as a small business owner, because it's also a tax write-off, right? So it's huge, especially with somebody like you. You work with people's finances and things like that, right? You help them in any way, shape, or form to manage budgets and things. Why not have another way? If you're already protecting yourself, you're protecting your family, you're protecting your business, why not write it off? Now, again, several options are available out there, right? It all depends on what your needs are. I like to build a conversation, build some rapport with people, and see what the needs are. What is it? How often do you go to doctors? How much medication are you taking? I mean, it all depends on what your needs are, right? You're not gonna go. I tell people, use an example. If you have a family of 6, you're not gonna go buy a motorcycle for all of you guys to travel, right? That's not. It's gonna save you money, but that's not what you need for your family, right? You need something. You need a vehicle that's large enough where you can all travel and be comfortable throughout the travel. Well, it's the same thing with health insurance, right? You need to find what's comfortable for you, what you can afford a monthly premium, and what's going to offer the best protection for you and your loved ones.
Yeah, absolutely. I think your group example makes a lot of sense. And really, when you're a small business, you need to consider who's in your group and what kind of group you're making, right? And I think working with someone like you and even Tana can help you decide what would really suit your group, because when the insurance company's deciding how much to charge the group as a whole, and we would kind of learn this, through commercial insurance with Jim and Sasha with personal insurance. They're looking at the group as a whole and they're deciding how much to charge. They have to do all the work in the back end to see, how it would be worth it to them, how they can afford everything. So, you definitely want a professional as a small business owner to make sure you're getting the right coverage. Okay, so what is one of the most important parts of having your medical coverage?
Protecting your assets, protecting your loved ones. That is number one. And I think you mentioned it the other day, where a bankruptcy, the number one reason for bankruptcy ends up being medical bills, right? What happens if somebody ends up in the hospital and they pass and all these bills are left over? Who's going to end up paying those bills? Well, they're not just going to get wiped away. Somebody's going to have to end up paying the bill, right? So that's why you want to have health insurance. You want to protect yourself. You want to make sure that you're not going to be out of pocket thousands and thousands of dollars just to protect yourself from maybe a heart attack, cancer, something major. But that's what I always tell people. Don't just think about, hey, I'm young, I don't need health insurance, everything will be good. Yes, you may be healthy, you may be young, but what's going to happen when that accident takes place? Or what's going to happen when you're diagnosed with something major? that's when you're going to be happy you have the health insurance to protect you and your loved ones.
Absolutely. So essentially, health insurance is kind of an interesting blend because, other insurance, like car insurance, for example, you don't expect your car insurance company to pay for an oil change, right? You're not expecting them to pay for a new set of tires. You're expecting them to cover when something catastrophic happens, like you get in an accident. But health insurance really has turned into something different, especially in the United States, right? Where at the bare minimum, it should be covering those catastrophic events, right? You are a normal, like, healthy person, you don't have a condition maybe, and you have to go to the hospital for something and it's going to cover. But we also have decided as Americans that we want it to be covering preventative medicine and every visit to the doctor and any screening or test or blood work. And so now, the insurance options really have all those things added. I guess I don't want to, like, the term that comes to mind is, you're adding all these benefits, like you're adding these bells and whistles, right? And so that's why the coverage can really vary from insurance company to insurance company, because we're adding them to add on all these extra services. And so those are the things we really need to ask our professionals. What's really included? How is this company prepared to help me with those day-to-day things as well?
Right. Yeah. And that's huge, right? You got to know what you're signing up for. Mm-hmm. And so, one of the important things that I like to do, whether it's a plan that I'm offering you or a plan I can help you get on with somebody else, mm-hmm. I'm going to walk you through the details so you can see exactly what you're getting on your plan. Mm-hmm. And you're not surprised when you get a packet saying, hey, Mario, well, what did I sign up for? Everything you're signing up for is I'm sharing with you on a screen so you can see exactly what you're being protected on and what your protection is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great. Okay, so we got to talk about money here, right? So what makes the Affordable Care Act insurance options so pricey?
So here's the at the end of the day, what happens with the ACA is the ACA by law has to accept anybody, and by anybody I mean whether you're healthy or you have a pre-existing condition, right? So what's going to happen with the health insurance company that takes on people who have major pre-existing conditions? Obviously, they're going to have to be paying out more consistently on people visiting doctors, on people going and getting x-rays, people getting medication, etc. Now, versus a private company where they're going to make sure that you're healthy enough to jump on a plan, what's happening is they're reducing their risk on the number of claims that they're going to pay out throughout the year, right? Mm-hmm. So when you put those together, what happens is the Affordable Care Act continues to pay out claims throughout the year. So obviously their premiums and their deductibles have to rise because somebody has to cover those high claims that are coming in, right? So that's what's causing the Affordable Care Act prices to rise because of all the claims that they're having to pay. So again, the health insurance companies aren't going to say, hey, you know what, it's okay, customers, we'll pay the bill. Well, the bill has to be passed on. And who gets hit with it? The healthier side, right? Because mm-hmm. the healthier side isn't using the health insurance as much as somebody who has medical needs. So the healthier person may say, hey, all I need is a physical exam per year and I'm good. But yet I'm paying the same monthly premium that the person next to me is paying when they use their health insurance a lot more. So that's what helps, unfortunately, that's what helps skyrocket the monthly premiums and the deductibles on the ACA.
Yeah, because I'm sorry about my dog in the background, everybody. It is alive, right? Yeah, but they're trying to offer that steady rate for everyone. You're in this group, you pay this dollar amount. You're not paying based on how many times you use it. So that's a really good point. Okay, so what other options? So I think, some people are, in my world, people are used to the traditional group coverage provided by a W-2 employer. So if you're transitioning to maybe now you're a 1099 contractor, or maybe you just started your own business and you're trying to figure out, wow, can I really make that leap to do the thing on my own, and really find the coverage that I need? Or, because they're used to their group plan, right? And I think part of that is the pricing of the plan. So I'm used to only paying maybe $300 a month for my entire family to be on a plan because I'm a W-2 employee. So, what other options are available to get the coverage that I'm used to having, and like, how does price come into that?
So one of the things as a small business owner, and I hear you, I was in the same boat too. I was like, wait a minute, what happened here? I was only paying a couple $100 a month. Well, and a lot of people don't know it, right? It's simple. In a group plan, depending on the organization you're working for, they're going to pay 51% or more of what the actual bill is. So you're only seeing half of the bill unless you're working for a very good company. I've seen companies that pay up to 85% of the monthly premium. So those people aren't seeing much of a withdrawal taken.
Those people are spoiled. So.
Right. But now what happens when they come out into the real world and now they have to pay for their own health insurance? Then it's a sticker shock. And it's like, whoa, wait a minute. I was only paying this much for my entire family. Now you're telling me it's all this. And it's like, hey, yeah, you have to understand, nobody's paying that half portion of your monthly premium. Now you're paying for the whole thing. Right. But even then, some people are surprised when it comes to when we give them the options on the monthly premium, because some of those people are aware already that they're going to pay more once they leave their job. But even when I give them the quote on some of the private plans, they're like, wait a minute, is that it? Are you sure? I'm like, yeah, it's got everybody in here.
Well, okay, those people have seen Cobra, right?
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Right.
They've seen the sticker shock of Cobra and they're like, whatever you want, Mario, I'm going to pay for your plan. Cobra just really escalates that price.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, again, it does hits people as a sticker shock when they first leave their job, and now you have to pay for your health insurance on your own. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing, guys. Why are we going to let health insurance premiums keep us from being our own bosses? Right? That we're leaving our own business to make more money, right? So yeah, with more money comes more bills. Right?
Yeah, but, and if the difference is $300 or $400 a month, I mean, right. $300 or $400 a month, that might be a couple clients for you, right? I mean,
yeah. So it just means you have to work that much harder. It's I think it was Notorious B.I.G. that said, more money, more problems. Right?
I love that quote. Let's bring that right into the health insurance. I love that. All right. So medical's not the only thing we need, right? So what are some other options you can add for our coverage?
We also help out with vision and dental. We have some great vision plans that we have access to. Dental plans. The good thing about these plans is that they're nationwide plans. So whether some of you guys has 1099s, if you guys are just here in the Valley or you guys travel, you don't have to worry about it because the health insurance policy will travel with you. So, again, health, vision, and dental is the package. We also offer some term life insurance, but usually if somebody says, hey, Mario, I'm a little bit more serious about the insurance, life insurance, then I have other people that I steer them their way.
Yeah, and bringing up the travel is really important. No matter who you work with, whoever is listening about health insurance, ask them about traveling, because looking at some of those Affordable Care Act plans and they only are within the Maricopa County. County. I mean, you go to Tucson? No. You go to Flagstaff? No, right? It's not included. So, you really got to be aware of what you're paying for. All right. So as we wrap up, are there any, you want to talk about open enrollment periods or any penalties that,
sure.
There was penalties for a while if you're not in a certain plan. So what happened with all that?
Yeah. So a couple of years ago, I think it ended in January 1st, 2018. The penalty was removed. So a lot of people are still under the idea that if you're not part of the Affordable Care Act and you choose to get health insurance otherwise, you're going to end up getting penalized. That is no longer true. you are now able to go get your health insurance wherever you want, and there is no penalty to be paid.
Yeah.
Okay. Now on the open enrollment, again, if you're looking at the ACA, they have an open enrollment between November 1st and December 15th. We're open enrollment is all year with us. So no matter what, if we find the right plan for you, you can jump on the plan as soon as, whether you're losing Cobra or you don't want to get Cobra and you'd rather save some money, you can come with us and we can definitely help you find a plan for you and your family.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Mario. I'm going to switch over and bring Tana on so she can talk to us about promote to panelists, make sure I can do all this stuff. But thank you so much for your info. And I'll put his contact information back on the screen if you want to talk. Again, any time of year, if you need coverage or your questions about your group coverage or any of that, he's available any time of year. Okay. All right, Miss Tana, thank you so much for being here as well. Tana Walker is a senior Medicare advisor and educator. She's licensed in Arizona, and she works with individuals between the ages of 64 and 75 to make the biggest health decisions that will affect the rest of their lives. Tana believes our senior population needs to be given as much information as possible so they can make an educated decision on what Medicare plan best fits their medical needs. Tana is a University of Arizona graduate. Go Wildcats. I didn't go to either school, so I can vote for whoever I want to. Who is continually taking training on different products available to the senior population. Thanks, Tana, for coming to talk to us about that.
Oh, Abby, it's so great to see you.
Thank you. Sorry to interrupt you. If you are somebody who owns a small business and you have someone that works for you who's in this age bracket or about to be in this age bracket, or if you have a parent or something, like, don't hang up. This is very valuable information. And we will show you how to apply it to your business as well. So here's the contact information for our speakers again. And Tana, let's start off with, Tana's with a company called Physicians Mutual. They have a great reputation in the Medicare space. But how should we pick a Medicare company to work with? And why did you pick Physicians Mutual?
Well, I think one of the things that was so important to me is that I actually had the privilege of aging into Medicare about 2 years ago. And because I'm a major research type person, I went and started looking through all the brochures that get sent to you from the day you turn 64. You end up with a mountain of brochures that you have to go through. And so I started looking at the different plans. And because of that research, I found that Physicians Mutual is the #1 company in preventative care. And it's really good to have something taken care of when you become sick, but it would be really nice if you could catch it before you actually became sick. And so I picked Physicians Mutual for that reason. Mm-hmm. Then my friends, and I wasn't working with them at that time at all, my friends started asking me, because they're very close to my age, they started asking me about all the what's and whys and what happens if you do this and that. And I decided to help them by representing Physicians Mutual. I believe Physicians Mutuals let each person to be in control of their own health care. I always ask them, do they want to be the driver of the bus or do they just want to go along for the ride?
There you go. I love that comparison. All right, so there's a lot about Medicare, and unfortunately, we're not going to dive all the way in. There's so much detail, which is why it's so important to have someone who's done the research herself, like Tana. But we're going to start and try to go through the basics and see how it might apply to the listeners. So when are you eligible for Medicare?
Well, generally, the answer to that question is that when you turn 65. There are a few exceptions, and that is that if someone is under permanent disability for over 24 months, they can then go on to Medicare. Mm-hmm. And then if there is someone who is actually working longer than 65, they don't have to sign up at that time. They can sign up whenever they're taken off of their company group plan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have a little bit more choice, but only because they work for a company. So, but there's some fancy rules about when we can sign up for Medicare. So what's that?
So the magic time, there's this perfect magic 7 months. And what those are the 3 months before your 65th birthday, the month of your 65th birthday, and the 3 months following your birthday. At that time, this is called your initial enrollment period. And at this time, what's the best part about it is they will not ask you one medical question. So you don't have to worry about whether or not you have a pre-existing condition or anything else. You will be accepted into the plan of your choice. I think that after you get the opportunity to speak with an advisor like myself, you'll find that there'll be certain plans that will fit your needs more than other plans. After that first initial enrollment, there are different times of the year when you can make changes. Right now, you are probably seeing a lot of Medicare Advantage ads on television, because what's happening is starting October 17th is open enrollment. Mm-hmm. And this is a time when if you're already on a plan, that you're able to change to any other plan that you would like to. And you can change during that time, you can change 12 times. It's just whatever your last choice is, that is going to be what's going to be your current, starting on January 1st, that will be your Medicare supplement. Mm-hmm. Then as an Advantage plan holder, your next thing is between January 1st and March, you have one last chance to either go back to what you were on before, if you want to go into original Medicare, or if you're just happy staying where you're at.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go back a little bit and highlight something you said, because, during this initial enrollment, there are a lot more people who are working past 65 now. So if you're one of those people and you're skipping your initial enrollment, I'm healthy anyways, I have something else that I'm interested in, and I'm not even sure about adding something else. I mean, I've just heard some of these things, right? Yep. Because we all want to save money. At the end of the day, we're not really sure we want to add another bill just to add another bill. We want to see the value of it. But I have unfortunately seen clients who have decided not to elect for the supplement, for any additional care, for any private insurance during their initial enrollment. They find out within a couple months or a couple years that they have some sort of condition, and now the insurance companies don't have to take them. They don't have to. Because technically, and I know you're going to explain this and I'm jumping a little bit ahead, so I apologize. No. But technically they have an insurance coverage, which is original Medicare through the federal government. And so a secondary insurance carrier doesn't have to take them. And now they end up with a mountain of bills for a condition, etc. So just keep in mind, when you're around that initial enrollment, when you're turning 65, even if you have a full-time job and you still have benefits, I would still encourage you to talk to someone like Tana, who's an expert in the area and can walk you through your options. You might be able to save money, whatever, but at least you're prepared for that conversation. And don't just put it off because you're healthy, right? So, all right, I'm sorry. I promise I'll get off my soapbox, Miss Tana.
No. And one of the things that you mentioned right there is those that are on a group plan, that sometimes, depending on the size of the company, mm-hmm. it might even be beneficial for the small business and that person that's 65 to go ahead and go on to Medicare. And what they'll do is it will save the business quite a bit of money.
Yes. I love that, because let's say we had a small business and there were 5 employees. So technically you can have your own group, you can set up your own group, but maybe one of those employees, whether they're the business owner or the secretary, whoever that employee is, if they're over the age of 65 and the other employees are 30 or 40, the entire group is paying for every member of the group to have whatever level of care at the level of care that they need. And so if the one person who might be different from the rest of the group could get an option like Medicare, it might make everything cheaper for the rest of the group. And, the owner of the business could offer to pay for that coverage for the person in Medicare. There's so many different options. We're not just stuck with this one way of thinking, which is a group plan is the best way to go.
And that's why it's so important to work with someone like Mario and myself as a team, because we can fit the company's needs the very best.
Absolutely. And you guys are such a great team talking about your cases and working together. So I applaud you for that. Okay, so again, back to the basics of Medicare, right? So what are the most important parts of Medicare? And I will bring up your nice slide that explains it well. Go ahead.
Okay. So as you can see on this slide, that there are actually 4 parts, A, B, C, and D, and then what is called supplements. Parts A and B are what is called the original Medicare and is provided by the federal government. Part C, or what you see on television called Advantage plans, are private insurance companies using mostly HMOs and PPOs, which you may be familiar with those terms from your group insurance when you were working with a company.
Mm-hmm.
And then Part D is the drug plan, and it is required by the government for all parts, to be included with all parts. Supplements are policies that take care of the co-pays, deductibles, and preventative care.
Yeah, that's a great explanation. So there just are not 100% of expenses are not covered by the federal government. It just is not that way. And so because you know you're going to have more needs as someone moving into an older age bracket, adding a supplement to pick up some of those costs can be really important for you. Okay, so why would I choose either original Medicare with a supplement or this Advantage? I mean, there's a lot more commercials for the Advantage plan, right? So what's the difference really?
Each person has different kinds, different health and financial needs. If they want to have control over which doctors that they want to use, and if they don't want to have to worry about referrals, then original Medicare plus a supplement would fit their needs the best. If a person is great at sticking to a budget, which has a medical savings account, then an Advantage plan with a 0 premium or to low premium. But what you have to be careful with is that they do have co-pays, deductions, and out-of-network charges might be something that would be of concern to them. You were talking earlier with Mario about how certain plans with affordable care will only do it in Maricopa County. That is what happens also with Advantage plans, is that whatever county you're in, that's where you must see your doctors and get your care.
Yeah, that's really important. And I'm going to show the audience this. This is a document that Tana is, willing to give whoever would like to receive a copy. This really highlights some of the differences between the Advantages and the supplements and gives you some good examples. Do you have anything else you want to add about this document?
No, it's when you can have it in hand, it's a lot easier for you to really see it versus having it here on the screen. So please just reach out to us and either Abby or myself will send it over to you.
Yes, happily. Yeah, that point about traveling can be so important, especially as a retirement advisor. When I'm talking to clients who are looking forward to retiring, one of the things they always tell me is, I want to travel more. I want to see my grandkids. I want to see parts of the United States. I want to go, right? But something we don't really consider is you might not be able to find a doctor that takes the plan. Your plan might not be accepted in certain states based on what insurance carrier that you use. So asking those kind of things up front is going to be very important. The great thing about a Medicare supplement plan is that if your doctor takes Medicare, they take your Medicare supplement, no matter what your insurance company is. So that can give you a lot of peace of mind when you're traveling, or no matter where you are, or maybe you have a new condition and you have to find a specialist. If the specialist takes Medicare, they'll take your supplement. So I think that's a huge benefit. Okay, so it seems like the portion of Medicare that's provided for the federal government should be free, right? Because didn't I pay into this system every year that I've been working? So it is Medicare free.
Yeah, Abby, definitely feels like it should be free, and it is generally, because what happens is if a person works, and they call it 40 quarters, which means in your lifetime of working, you have paid taxes for at least 10 years. And it doesn't have to be 10 years in one lump sum, it can be broken up. But if you do, then your Part A is going to be free. Now, your Part B, which is, and the Part A is your hospitalization. To just explain it just a little bit quicker, Part A is your hospitalization, and so it would be free. Your Part B is your doctors. And as most of us, when we were in the working world, most of us were used to the fact that it was done on an 80-20 basis, where 80% of the bill was taken care of and you had 20% that you needed to do for your deductible. Well, with Medicare Part B, that 80% is paid, and then the supplement that you pick would be what would take care of that other 20%. So then that would then pay all of your bills for both the original Part A and the Part B. Now, Part C is, again, it's a private company. So they will, and you'll see these as advertisements, you'll see that they usually will say zero or a very low premium. What happens with them is that you do have to generally pay co-pays. There are going to be deductibles. And what can actually happen is if you're out of network, you could be exposed to up to $10,000 in additional costs. And that can be very painful to a whole lot of us.
Absolutely.
And then Part D, it has a very small monthly premium that is required by the federal government.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great to consider, that there's, just like with Mario's coverage, there are things that need to be paid out of pocket, and we have to be considering what fits our budget best. What can we actually afford to pay when it comes to healthcare? What do we want to pay when it comes to healthcare, right? Okay, so are there any additional coverages that are provided by Physicians Mutual?
I am very fortunate to also be able to provide dental and vision care, and then the all-important cancer. Most of us know at least one person in our immediate family or friends who are dealing with cancer, and how devastating financially it can be. And so I'm very fortunate to be able to offer that product.
Yeah, I think that's really important. Okay, is there anything else you want to summarize your section, or I'll look at for some questions from the guests as well.
I look forward to questions.
Okay, great. I'll bring Mario back on and see if we have some questions. Not to panelists. And again, I want everyone to have the information. Again, Tana and Mario will happily, I always do that double click, will happily send you information about their coverage, but I hope you heard from both of them how they really advise their clients. They understand the marketplace. They understand healthcare insurance when a lot of us, me as well, don't have a lot of experience on how to wade through that. But overall, these two professionals are here to really make sure that you have the coverage that you need for your family. And if they have that coverage available, of course, they'd happily sign you up. And if you need a referral to even someone else to get a different option, or if you need them to work together to provide the coverage for your business, they're happy to do that as well. Okay, so I don't see any questions currently. I haven't checked our Facebook comments though, so let me do that. Let me see. Oh, awesome. All right, so I guess I'll have a follow-up question. I mean, how often, Tana, with Medicare, there's that annual enrollment period, right? So you're going to be in touch with your clients probably at least once a year to make sure they're happy and everything's okay. Mario, with signing up for yours, should someone be looking over their coverage and seeing if it's still what they need? What's your recommendation on reviewing?
Absolutely, absolutely. If somebody, excuse me, if somebody wants me to help them go over their benefits that they currently have, I'll be more than happy to do so. That way they're able to see what the coverage is. A lot of one of the things I run into is that a lot of people don't know how to differentiate between a deductible and a max out of pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a lot of times when you get signed up for a health insurance plan, they just tell you, hey, you know what, here's what your deductible is. But they don't realize that a lot of times you end up signing up for a plan where you're only paying a couple $100s a month, but your deductible ends up being $10,000 to $20,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that can be either just for yourself or for you and the parties are part of the health insurance plan. So think about it. Yeah, you're going to be paying $200 a month, but if something critical happens, right, God forbid, a family gets in an accident, you're going to end up maybe paying $30,000 to $40,000 before the health insurance pays anything,
Mm-hmm.
right? So those are big things that we have to look at. What are our true deductibles? What are our max out of pockets? And again, I'll be more than happy to see what they have in place, and maybe we can help them out with something different, or maybe they're in a good spot, you know.
Right. Yeah, I really appreciate that offer. As somebody who, so I've had two children, and I was surprised both times, unfortunately, at what the bills were from the hospital afterwards, right? And I think, again, with Corona, and what's the average amount people are paying when they go into the hospital to be treated for Corona? What was the number? $39,000?
39,000.
Yeah.
$39,000 to be treated on average for Corona, right? Which currently in Arizona is something we don't seem to have a lot of control over, whatever your view is of that. But I probably paid at least $6,000 out of pocket to have my first baby in the hospital because there were so many expenses I didn't consider. There were, the anesthesiologist didn't take my insurance. We had to stay a day longer in the hospital, whatever the reasons were, right? That I think we underestimate how much those can be. So of course, like we learned a couple weeks back, we have our insurance, our business, our savings, our emergency savings. The business has the savings. So we want to keep our business going, even if something like this does happen. But I think we can really underestimate how big of a hit one of these events could really be. And kind of
One thing on
leaving.
that, I'm sorry, Abby,
No,
you
please.
brought up the COVID-19, right? It's definitely out of control now here in Arizona, right, and in other states.
Yeah.
Now, what's happening is a lot of people are wanting to sign up for health insurance plans now. It's huge, like it's out of control. The number of calls or the number of people trying to sign up for a plan. Here's one thing you guys have to realize. A lot of companies are now placing stipulations if you have been diagnosed with COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're somebody that's waiting to get diagnosed with COVID and then say, hey, now I need health insurance, well, it's not going to work that way, right? There is a waiting period that's being set in place until a certain amount of days after you were released saying, hey, you no longer had COVID. Some of these people are making you wait 30, 60, 90 days before anything happens. So, some of you guys are thinking out there saying, hey, I'll just wait till I test positive and then I'll sign up for a health insurance plan. That's not the way health insurance is going to work.
Right.
You gave an example earlier, Abby. You're in a car, right? Well, here's another one. I mean, if you're in a car accident, you get in a car wreck, you're not going to call your insurance agent and say, hey, I just got in a car wreck. I just had regular insurance. Can you give me up to full coverage? It's not going to work that way, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Good point. That's a really good answer. So, linking this, being sick or being injured in order to keep up your business, it can really take a lot out of your business, especially if you're a service professional like the three of us are. We need to see clients and be able to do that. So I am going to introduce our topic next week, because we are bringing Charlie Alexander. He does life insurance and disability insurance through Mass Mutual. And when you are unable to bring in income, your family's relying on that income that you bring in for your family from your business, having that coverage to be able to bring in that income and continue. And there's lots of life insurance strategies we're going to go over, how to pay for kids to go to college, how to use life insurance to bring in other income during your retirement. There are so many different ways to use life insurance. And Charlie and I are so excited to bring those options to you guys next week. So please join us. And we always record these and put them on YouTube. So again, go to my YouTube channel, Abby Vick. If you search that, you'll find all the videos and all the content from all of our previous experts. Can't thank you guys enough for coming on, Tana and Mario, and for sharing your knowledge and your experience. And if anyone wants to respond back to the thank you email from the webinar, I can get you in touch with either of these lovely people. And I hope you all have a great week. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take
Bye-bye.
care. Bye-bye.